Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
An active stretch of weather is still ahead of us on top of what we've already experienced for today. Looking north for that slight risk for severe weather. Damaging winds is the main concern. Going southward, your severe threat diminishes, but a widespread risk for some heavy rainfall and some flooding concerns. The most elevated flooding risk is looking from Parkersburg to Charleston and Huntington Tuesday and Tuesday night, at which time we have a widespread risk for some large hail and damaging winds, with damaging winds still being the primary threat. Now, by Wednesday, Charleston to Lewisburg south of there has the marginal risk for severe weather, but still a slight risk for additional flooding. And one more day in this stretch, Thursday and Thursday night. Further east you are, less of an issue for the flooding, but anywhere you see red is at least 3 inches. The oranges will be 5 inches of widespread accumulation as we head through Friday night. So we will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms producing torrential rainfall. We'll have a lull here or there, and then areas that do experience flooding from one round of storms are predisposed for additional flooding concerns as we have more rounds, primarily through Wednesday, but still a lot of moisture into Thursday as well. 5-star W forecast, it starts at home. We will find ourselves with some quieter conditions if you're traveling toward New York. Even Tampa gets a break from the storms, but Chicago, another stormy area you could be heading to. Overnight, temperatures on the warm side in upper 60s and low 70s. Then we'll see low to mid 80s looking north for our Tuesday. A lot of low 70s east. Pawpaw, 71 tonight, 86 then for Tuesday, 89 Martinsburg. Elkins, 68 overnight, 75 for Snowshoe on Tuesday, then looking to Ripley for 88. We'll see more temperatures in the mid-60s to low 70s south, with highs in the low to upper 80s. Huntington 91 on Tuesday, 89 Charleston. Gradually trending cooler through the week. Briefly drier Saturday, but more heavy rain may be possible by Sunday.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, three.
Red 57! Red 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. We welcome you in on this Monday night, August 10th, 2026, to the CityNet Statewide Sportsline live in our Health Plan Studios. Brad and Greg with you this evening, and we're glad you're with us, however you may be listening or watching. Our text line's open all evening, 304-8255-304. We'd love to hear from you, so fire off a text, and we'll get into those coming up here in just a bit. Coach Hunter, welcome to you and good evening.
Good evening, Brett. How you doing?
I'm well. You?
I'm fine.
All good in your world as we move into the second week of West Virginia's football practices, and that's our focus of the show tonight. And most of the week, we will dive heavily into practice here as it's the last week really before classes start. And so today, Rich Rodriguez met with the media, so we'll get to some sound from Rich coming up here in just a few minutes. Also heard from assistant coach William Green, the defensive line coach, and Nate Gabriel, Nick Cray, a couple of players. We'll hear from William Green and the players coming up on tomorrow's show. Tonight will be mostly about Rich. We'll also take a look back, Greg. I want to talk a little bit about Jaden Bray. He met with the media at the end of last week, and we didn't have time to get to the clips Friday night, so we'll play a couple of those from Jaden Bray coming up a little bit later as well. Before we dive into those, initial thoughts from Rich today, anything earth-shattering? It was really a lot of defensive line particular discussions, and part of that was because William Green was coming and Nate Gabriel was coming. So we'll talk a lot about the defense here tonight.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think a lot of it was sort of, I won't say focus, but a lot of it did trend to the defensive side in his comments. So he said some special teams things as well that I found of interest. Because, again, at this point in the year, when you start to talk about a few personnel and who's manning what positions, as he did some with the returners, and we'll get into that in a bit. But to me, that sort of piques my interest as we get there.
Yeah. Well, let's save the defense here for just a second. And first, let's talk a little bit of offense and specifically the receivers. As I mentioned, Jaden Bray took the mic, and he's one of those, Greg. And listen, Jaden's been around for a while, and he's a guy you just have your fingers crossed for this year that can stay healthy and really show his potential. We've been talking about him for a long time. He's really missed both of his years, the majority of both years here at West Virginia due to injury. He missed nearly a full season at Oklahoma State as well. So that's a young guy you hope can stay healthy because physically it's a pro-type receiver. He's got the size, the speed, the athleticism to go get the ball. He just needs to stay healthy and stay on the field. I did think it was interesting when he talks. He's also a guy, Greg, by the way, they can bring Jaden Bray out to talk as many times as they would like, right? Great interview.
Absolutely.
Smart kid, intelligent, can speak well. So he's a guy you want out in front of the camera. He started the discussion, or at least this clip here, he talked a little bit about playing slot versus outside. They're starting to move him a little bit to try and find different ways to get him on the field and get him the ball. And then he kind of rolls that into an answer here on some other guys that may have caught his eye. Here's Jaden Bray from the end of last week.
Yeah, we have a couple of different like route packages that we have that go for the slot. That they have some routes, but we also have a whole bunch of looks that where I am at outside, and I'll come in and do the same thing that the slot does. So I've run some of those routes before. It's not just like completely new going in there because, like I said, we do have some of the same routes. But I wouldn't say there's nothing like specifically like a way to attack the DB. It's just kind of easier because they're off.
Give us an evaluation on some of the other wide receivers. Go through some of those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll start off with Landon Drum. He's a young guy, but you couldn't even tell. It's like he's been here a year. He's only gone here. He got here in the summer. He's from Alaska, so did a lot of traveling to come out here, and it seems like he's came out here ready to work. Just seeing the strides that he has taken has been pretty great, especially because how young he is. Every day he's coming into work. It seems like since the first day he's always and it's the third day, but since those days he's putting something on film every day to catch. It's catching my attention, and I'm pretty sure it's catching the coach's attention. So I would say Landon Drum. And like you just talking in the receiver room? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll just say like really all of our young guys, for real, it's really good to see them where they've been at when they have first gotten here, and just to see them in fall camp is really like, because I was a young guy, I was still in their same position. So just seeing the elevation that they have gotten and the way that they're taking coaching and stuff like that, because I know it's hard, especially fall camp. So it's good to see all those young guys going on.
All right, let's continue on. He talks about a couple of other guys that are on that depth chart as well that we've been talking about a lot. So here's Jaden Bray continuing with other guys in that receiver room.
Yeah, just another, just more, they're like me. I mean, they're not much younger than me, so they can also help all the younger guys. I know I'm going to them, even though I'm the oldest guy in the room, I still talk. It doesn't matter if he's the youngest guy in the room. If he did a great route, I'm going to ask him, like, what did you do to get that? I'm always trying to pick up something. So those guys right there, just asking them questions. You know, Prince is a big receiver, lengthy, go down and make any catch you want. John is super sound. Like, he's a real fundamental route runner. And what I've taken from him is that he doesn't let a DB dictate like his tempo or anything like that. He's, like I said, he's really smooth. So yeah, I would just say those two guys, they bring a lot to this offense. We can use them in different ways, move them in, move them out. So I'm really great to have them on this team.
All right, let's dive into that a little bit. The couple guys he was talking about there in the last clip, we'll work in reverse order here. Mm-hmm. Prince is, of course, Prince Strawn, and we've said this a million times. Man, he looks the part. So if he gets on the field, you got to find a way to keep elevating him because he's got the physical tools. John Nider's the other one he referred to when he said, John, transfer from UConn, who continues to impress as each practice goes on. That's a guy that is starting to get known for his hands and his ability to go up and make some contested catches. So I think you're going to see Nider get quite a bit of run here this season.
Yeah, I mean, Nider's not small by any stretch, but compared to Strawn, everybody is small. Yes. Strawn at about 6'5", but Nider is interesting, and people who don't know his backstory, actually went to UConn as a walk-on quarterback. initially, quickly moved to wide receiver. And took a couple years, redshirt year, and then a special teams mainly guy. But last year became the second leading receiver for the Huskies. And after a coaching change with that school this year, as their coach took a job at Colorado State, he looks to transfer, as does one of their offensive tackles, Carson Cassidy. Both of them end up at West Virginia. And now Nider seemingly has found a home. Now, we'll see where he is in the rotation, but I don't think there's any doubt that he is somewhere in that rotation of 6, 7, whatever ultimately West Virginia plays.
Yeah, he plays, and I think the confidence continues to grow with the coaching staff and quarterbacks with him and his ability to make plays. The other one that was interesting, I thought he led with this, which is it's a name you haven't heard a lot publicly, but it has been circulating within the building, and that's Landon Drum. And he's a fascinating story, as Jaden mentioned. Spent most of his time growing up in Alaska, in Anchorage, then transferred into Colorado, played in Colorado. So the staff thinks they might have got a little bit of a steal here, that he was under the radar a little bit because of where he was from in Alaska, and then was just in Colorado for a short amount of time before they got him. One of the things that jumped out, if you're watching with us, Jaden had one of those shirts on that all the guys got that say just a kid from wherever you're from. And I had somebody the other day tell me it was funny seeing Drum come out. It says just a kid from Anchorage. It's not something you see very often here running around in West Virginia, is just a kid from Anchorage, Alaska on this roster. So we'll see if Drum can break through the rotation this year, but it is a guy that's impressed if you're trying to look down the road for some younger guys that might have a chance. Yeah,
and we'll see where ultimately, he lands. Again, no red shirts available anymore, so use him. Some you use him, you throw him out there. But his path is very unique. I did some research when West Virginia signed him. I've never found another player from Alaska, on the program. They've had other athletes from Alaska, rifle people and such, but none in football. He spent his entire life in Alaska until his senior year of high school, when realized, probably not going to get recruited for football because there are just not many people who recruit the state of Alaska for football. So moves to Colorado, quickly starts to get some interest, though it's mainly lower level schools at that point. And then West Virginia jumps in, and he's all over that offer right away. Yeah. So he's one definitely keep an eye on as we move forward.
That might be a little bit of old school West Virginia recruiting where you might have uncovered somebody there. So they'll look to continue to develop him. He's got some size too, about 6'3". So that's the interesting part of this. So I think all of those guys we've mentioned, from Strawn, Francis, of course, is in the mix, DJ Epps, Jaden Bray, Nider, all those guys, I feel like you can catch the ball. You've got some catchability there. The question, though, is going to be the blocking, right? Yes. And we haven't talked much. We've talked about receivers a few times here. Which of those guys is willing to get out there and stick their face in the fan, to use the term Rich used last week, talking fullbacks, at receiver? That's going to really determine it. So who's going to step forth with the blocking side of things? But you got some size out there.
Yeah, you do. But again, so much of it is a want to. And, just based on the fact that he's been here a year and understand it, you would think Bray would be first and foremost in that. But, you look at Francis, he should be a fullback almost. So you'd like to think he could do it. And again, Strawn's a long kid. He's got size, but a lot of it is length. So it can be done. I've seen smaller receivers who are good blockers just because of the desire. So we'll see who has that desire. They're going to have to if they want to get on the field.
The other guy that wasn't mentioned there that we've talked about receiver-wise in terms of it's really different than the rest of the group is just Hutchins. Yeah. Keon Hutchins, and his ability to burn deep. He'll be the guy that you try and unlock and get over the top on the defense when that's needed.
Yeah, and that's, again, all those big play capabilities are so important. And they've got several that have that. I think Strawn and Bray probably first and foremost in terms of just taking the top off. And then you hope that Epps is a catch and scoot type of guy can do so as well. But Hutchins looks like to be the biggest burner.
He is.
On the whole field.
He's going to be your straight go guy that you just try and throw it over. Strawn can go up and you're going to throw some jump balls at him and have him go win it. Hutchins, the guy, you just want him to get behind the defense and then let him run and go get it. So you got a little bit of everything in there. Now it's just a matter of how that comes together and how the quarterbacks work in there in making those passes complete. But we know you better block or you're not going to be on the field in this offense.
And we've talked about it, from signing day, from the end of last season. This team wants to be able to run the football so much better than they did last year. But you can't forget the passing game. And a lot of that is to keep defensive backs honest and keep them deep. If you've got a legit pass game, if you got somebody who can go deep, all of a sudden your safeties can't creep up and then get their nose involved in the run game. One part complements the other.
Yeah, the other part of that, and we hearken back a lot to the Darius Renaud time. It's not like we would name 5 or 6 receivers during that era that were really good, but you had a couple that were dynamic and could be really explosive. And I think that's the term you heard most or you hear most this offseason as we get ready for that Coastal Carolina game. They just feel they're much more explosive. And last year you really weren't at all in any areas at any position. I think they feel they've got multiple receivers, multiple running backs, and multiple quarterbacks who can get you some big plays. And of course, that's the key to a rich offense.
Well, and again, we talked about how much the passing game can help the running game, but it's even just as much, if not more so, on the other way. I mean, if linebackers, defensive backs start sticking their nose in there and worrying about stopping the run from Cam Cook or the quarterback or whatever, all of a sudden now it's easy to get behind them and make big plays in the pass game. So again, one reason Pat White was so effective throwing it as well as running it to the Darius Renauds of the world or whomever was because they all had to pay so much attention to the run game. And if that's the case this year, then you can have some weapons in the pass game.
Or just some play. Just get the ball to DJ Epps and let him go 55 yards.
Yep.
Those are things that were missing last year, right? You don't have to have a 60-yard pass play over the top. Get a couple underneath, somebody break a couple tackles, and boom, get some explosives. That's really, of all the things that were missing out of that offense last year, that was a big one. It was
huge.
It was such a grind, and then you weren't good enough to grind it out. And so therefore the offense stalled so much. I think that will be different coming up this season. All right, break to take. When we come back, we shift our attention to the other side of the ball. Let's talk some defense. We'll hear from Rich Rodriguez next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Ready to make this boating season unforgettable? Head to Lou Wendell Marine Sales, family owned and operated for over 40 years and West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Lou and his sons are boating experts from sales to service to repairs. And right now, their lot is packed with incredible inventory and some of the best deals of the season. Whether it's weekends on the lake or sunset cruises with the family, Lou Wendell Marine Sales has your perfect boat waiting. Because they don't just sell boats, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com today.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
When was the last time you checked your home's fire safety? From working smoke alarms and clear escape routes to safe heating in the winter, small checks make a big difference. The West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office has launched a quick, easy home safety survey to help you spot simple fixes around your house before emergency strikes. Take just 5 minutes today to keep your family safe. Visit firemarshal.wv.gov to complete your home safety survey. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline
returns in 2 minutes
on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on MetroNews Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart, only on Metro News Television.
Across West Virginia, connection begins with fast, reliable fiber internet. Connecting overlooked communities to what matters most. Protecting businesses with managed IT and advanced cybersecurity backed by local experts. Perfecting technology experiences while investing in West Virginia's future. CityNet, built and supported by West Virginians, for West Virginia.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorod.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com. At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discovered tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door. Now's the time to connect. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. Whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. CityNet connects, perfects, and protects. Text line's open, 304-8255-304. We'll get into your texts coming up here in just a bit. Had a little defensive discussion today, Coach Hunter, with Coach Rodriguez, and really specifically to the defensive line and really the interior defensive line. He talked a little bit about the edges. We'll get into that quote in just a little bit, but he spent the majority of the time on the interior defensive line guys, and part of that's because we had Nate Gabriel come out and talk to us earlier or after Rich got done, but the bulk of the discussion was on defensive line. So let's dive in. That's not an area we've talked a ton about. We'll do it right now. Here was Rich opening up, just talking about, Coach Hunter, you led this off and you just kind of gave him the open floor to talk about this particular group, the defensive linemen. Here's Rich.
I had a couple guys that graduated, some pretty good players. I got a little bit of experience with McIntyre and Big Nate Gabriel. They're kind of the leaders up front. The bandit edges DN room is almost entirely new, I think, pretty much. But we got some guys like Zeke Campbell that has played a lot of football. Let me see who else at the other side. Harper Holloman's played a lot of football. Jeremiah Johnson's played a lot of football. David Ofago's played a lot of football. Toby Hastrup is an extremely talented young guy that we got from Oregon. I think he's got a great future. Still learning. Darius Wiley was a guy we got out of junior college. He's got a huge upside and works really hard. I think he can be an impact player for us. So there's a lot of new faces, but I think the talent is there, and we have some experience, but and we do so much with them. And Coach Alley and his scheme, there's a lot for them to learn, but they've done a good job.
What do you need from Gabriel this year?
Well, without a whole lot of seniors, and even less, I guess, last year players, if we're going to call them that, because it's 5 years. There's the leadership probably got to come from some guys that have been here and played a little bit, like Nate, and he's been fantastic. I mean, on and off the field, and a great example. Was early to work, leads the way all the way around, and I don't like to say I don't need a whole lot. I don't need leadership during practice. Hell, that's what the coaches are paid to do. But in the locker room, off the field. When they're on their own, that kind of stuff, you need somebody that's mature and can lead them the right way, especially with all these new guys. And even if you're an older guy and you're mature, this is going to be, how we do things is new. Every program is run a certain way. And, what I'm asking for the veterans that were here a year ago is help educate our guys that this is how practice is run, these are the expectations and all that.
All right, we'll get into some JUCO guys. We're going to talk more about Wiley. We'll get into a further breakdown of some of the depth there. He'll get into those in just a minute. Let's, for right now, let's talk about Gabriel and McIntyre, the two names that you know. Where do you list their importance? If I was telling you to give me your top 10 guys in order to have this team to have success, where do those two guys slot?
Well, they're definitely in the top 10. I don't know if I'd put them 1 and 2, but they're way up there because obviously, I think, West Virginia is going to have 5-6 interior defensive linemen that they feel can play on a regular basis, but those are probably your first two out of the gate, and you really need them to be good. And West Virginia was okay there last year. Eddie Vesterinen was the name there last year. He's now a GA for WVU, but so you had some guys last year, but for the most part, the only ones back who played much were Gabriel and McIntyre, and I think both are in the stage of their careers as they moved up. They're ready to ascend their play, and they need to be good for West Virginia.
Yeah, Gabriel, and we talked a little bit about this with him. His snap count last year, you look at somewhere in the 30s. I mean, that's going to have to take a jump. Probably doesn't double, but that's going to have to get into that 45 or 50, and it just seems like those guys are going to have to be really, really good for this team because of all those new pieces, including some of the JUCO guys. And we'll get into the JUCO guys here next because you look at them, and, man, there's some potential there. But you've said this many times. Generally, those JUCO guys right out of the gate need a few games, at least sometimes a year, to get acclimated here. But West Virginia's going to depend on them early in this season. So let's hear from Rich as he talks about that process of getting the JUCO guys and what is that process of adapting to this level of football.
I don't want to say the JCs are getting overlooked per se, but I do think with the transfer portal where it is, there's more guys getting portal guys than JC guys. And there's still a lot of there's always been good football players in the junior college ranks. But I think some of them are getting overlooked now because the schools are just going to, veterans out of the portal as opposed to junior college. And we found, and that was one reason we signed them, and I've said this before, I don't care if they're from a high school or from another school in the portal or if they're a junior college guy. Let's just find the best players we can find. If they have multiple years left, that brings more value. And so that was the advantage of the junior college guys. They all got at least 2 years. Some of them got 3 years left now. So we're going to continue to recruit the junior college guys, and there's some good ones out there.
And one of those JUCO guys that you're gonna keep an eye on this year just because of sheer size at 6'6" is Darius Wiley. Here's Rich talking about what he brings to the table.
He's every bit of it. And the good thing about Darius is he's really hungry to learn too. You see him, he wants to do a little extra. He's every day he's getting a little bit better. And he was well coached in junior college, but he's also a guy that you could tell that football is really important to. And I hope it is for everybody. But it's ironic, the guys that are talented and football is really, really important to them wind up being the best players. And you hope all of them kind of take that attitude.
All right, and the last one from Rich on the defensive line. Coach Hunter, you just opened the floor there. Just go. Just go ahead and tell us everybody that's in the room and your thoughts. Here you go.
Behind Corey and Nate. Okay, can I look at my chart?
Interior guys.
Look at it. So we have a young guy named Yender Mack. He's a true freshman out of Harrisburg. Going to be a really good player. There's no red shirt anyway. We're going to get him ready to play. Will LeBlanc's a little banged up. He's a transfer out of Division II school. He's going to he's going to contribute and play. I'm looking at inside. You talking about inside guys or outside? Jim, outside, huh?
Yeah, inside guys.
Oh, inside guys. Taylor Brown has been here. He's an athletic guy. He's got a chance. Jalen Thomas is a junior college guy. He's got a lot of potential. And he and KJ Henson are two new guys that has got some size and can help us, but they're still adjusting to, Division I Power 4 football. But I think they can help us, and they're working really hard.
All right, we'll come back to Wiley here in a second. Let's talk about some of those guys because, as you see, there's a lot of new names and there's multiple JUCO guys in there. So let's dive in. KJ Henson is one that's going to play right away and going to play a lot. Thoughts on KJ Henson?
Kid from, again, one of the best junior colleges in the country in Hutchinson, one of 4 Mountaineers from that program. West Virginia recruited 11 JUCOs this past year, which is the most I remember. Now, again, before we make too much out, this is the biggest class I ever remember for West Virginia, so some of it was just because the numbers were so high. They also added 11 JUCOs to that, but Henson is definitely a kid that looks like he's got the ability to at least be a major rotational player for West Virginia. And again, when you're talking about somebody who, even if you don't start, you're playing a ton of snaps and is almost as important as the starter itself. But he's from Maryland, so he's returning to relatively close to home. 6'4", 290, can be a D tackle or a nose for West Virginia. So very important. Again, even if Gabriel and McIntyre start for you, he's probably one of your first guys off the bench, and we'll see plenty of snaps this year.
Yeah, and it's just a question on him, like how many is that plenty of snaps? Is that 20? Can he stay on the field for 35 and help those two other guys? I think Henson's up that list too of guys that you're not necessarily talking about in the first discussion, but are going to have to play and be good for you. Jalen Thomas, another JUCO guy. So again, here this room is depending a lot on JUCO guys being good early. Greg, Jalen Thomas, he's bigger. He's a bigger kid. I mean, bigger than 290, but he's more of a pure nose. I mean, you talk zero technique, just line him up over the center and go. They list him at 6'2", 316, but pure, middle plug gapper for him. He's from Northwest Mississippi Community College. And again, another JUCO guy, big, strong, put him right in the middle. Also very important. I think he and Henson, both of whom we'll see a lot of action for West Virginia. Henson may be a little bit further up the list, but not by much, because I think Thomas also is very important to this football team. That might be your first four right there. Henson, McIntyre, Gabriel, and Jalen Thomas might be your first four in the middle there.
Though he mentioned a name there that I've sort of heard and I've wondered about, Yador Mack.
Yendor Mack. All right, so that's the next place I was going to go. If there was a guy so far in all the media sessions that has led the team in mentions, it was Mack.
Yeah.
He got mentioned today not only by Rich, Nate Gabriel mentioned him. Nick Cray might even throw a Yendor Mack in there. So that was a guy I don't know that we've said his name till right now, but everybody today brought him up. Young guy out of Harrisburg, PA, but it's another one of those like drum at receiver. If you want to look down the road and you're worried about retention, Mack's a guy here. How much does he play? Do we see him, or is that just down the road? But he got a lot of pub today.
Well, again, because you don't redshirt, you probably will see him. How much, we'll wait and see. Not from the same high school as Kevin Brown, different high school, Susquehanna, rather than Harrisburg High. But again, from a place that has a lot of really good football. And he was one of those that was really good in high school. West Virginia, when they got him, thought they had one that was pretty good. And he came down to a very last-second decision. I think it was Michigan State for him in West Virginia, and he ultimately signed with West Virginia. So they thought they had something when they signed him because of the competition that they beat out. And then now that they've got him here, all looks like as good as advertised. Now, again, is he ready to be a huge contributor day one? We know that's special. There are a few of those in this class that may do it. How much Mack does, we'll wait and see.
How about Will LeBlanc? Last one before we move on from interior.
Yeah, from Texas Permian Basin, Division II school. So Fairmont State's high school, right? Really good Division II school. But he's a bigger kid, came out of high school in the Houston area, obviously wasn't heavily recruited by the big-time schools at that point, went D2, redshirt a year, comes here. He went from like 230 in high school to 280 something.
Almost 290.
Yeah, in college, and all of a sudden he's got the size and physical attributes. And again, is he a starter? Maybe not, but he's a guy who's rotational for you. If you're going to get to that six that you ultimately want who can rotate in there, he probably needs to be one of those six.
Yeah, 6'5", 290 is what he's listed at. Where does this position rank in your question marks? Is it at the top of the list?
Yeah.
Do you feel better about corners than you do defensive line at this point? No, you don't?
No, corner's still up there too, just because you at least have two guys that you heard before this past year in McIntyre and Gabriel. And again, they need a whole lot more than that, but the whole cornerback room is basically new. So
I think I'm
still worried about. Again, it's 1 and 2 on the list, but I'm still really worried about corner just because of the newness of the position. Though I will say, typically you can get corners ready who haven't been in your program before. You've seen true freshman corners come in and play, or JUCO guys come in and play right away. Usually it takes some time at defensive line.
I may revise this. I reserve the right to change. I think I have defensive line as a bigger concern for me than I do corners at this point.
Again, both are way up on that list, whether it's 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. I'll agree with you that those are high on the list.
All right, break to take. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion here. We'll get into a little special teams. Rich gave us some on the returners, talked a little bit about quarterbacks as well, and will there be any additions to this roster? We'll get into all of that next on the CityNet statewide Sportsline.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. Fiber is now at your front door and even in rural areas and communities across West Virginia. Thanks to broadband expansion funding, your tax dollars helped make it possible. And CityNet turned that investment into real connections for local families and businesses. Now, you can get blazing fast fiber internet with free installation, free equipment, no long-term contract, and local customer support that's always close to home. Don't settle for slow or no internet for another day. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline
Returns in 2 minutes.
on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
An active stretch of weather is still ahead of us on top of what we've already experienced for today. Looking north for that slight risk for severe weather. Damaging winds is the main concern. Going southward, your severe threat diminishes, but a widespread risk for some heavy rainfall and some flooding concerns. The most elevated flooding risk is looking from Parkersburg to Charleston and Huntington Tuesday and Tuesday night, at which time we have a widespread risk for some large hail and damaging winds, with damaging winds still being the primary threat. Now, by Wednesday, Charleston to Lewisburg south of there has the marginal risk for severe weather, but still a slight risk for additional flooding. And one more day in this stretch, Thursday and Thursday night. Further east you are, less of an issue for the flooding, but anywhere you see red is at least 3 inches. The oranges will be 5 inches of widespread accumulation as we head through Friday night. So we will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms producing torrential rainfall. We'll have a lull here or there, and then areas that do experience flooding from one round of storms are predisposed for additional flooding concerns as we have more rounds, primarily through Wednesday, but still a lot of moisture into Thursday as well. Flystar W forecast, it starts at home. We will find ourselves with some quieter conditions if you're traveling toward New York. Even Tampa gets a break from the storms, but Chicago, another stormy area you could be heading to. Overnight, temperatures on the warm side in upper 60s and low 70s. Then we'll see low to mid 80s looking north for our Tuesday. A lot of low 70s east. Pawpaw, 71 tonight, 86 then for Tuesday, 89 Martinsburg. Elkins, 68 overnight, 75 for Snowshoe on Tuesday, then looking to Ripley for 88. We'll see more temperatures in the mid-60s to low 70s south, with highs in the low to upper 80s. Huntington 91 on Tuesday, 89 Charleston. Gradually trending cooler through the week. Briefly drier Saturday, but more heavy rain may be possible by Sunday.
Sportsline continues on this Monday edition. We're in our Health Plan studio. The Health Plan provides health coverage options. It's been the most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Since 1979, the Health Plan's called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan. Got a couple texts coming in. We'll get to those here in just a few minutes. 304 8255304 if you'd like to weigh in. Let's continue on with Rich from earlier today. One of the discussions that's still up in the air is based on that ruling in Colorado, the class action suit, giving guys a 5th year to play. That's being challenged, we know, by the NCAA in court as well. But it's still a question, even though the season's fast approaching, will there be anybody on the football roster side of things that will be added to this roster? Here's Rich talking about that.
Maybe you guys will tell me. We've been practicing this morning. Did any of the NCAA ruling on the class action suit? Nothing came out today, right? As far as the guys that have in the 5th year and all that. So we have a couple guys that we've talked to and communicated, and if the five-year class action thing goes through, then we may have a couple added. But as far as guys out of the portal or suing to get in the portal, whatever that is, we're not having anybody right there just yet.
All right, so there it is on that couple guys, maybe, but nothing to report yet. Jumping around, covering some different topics. Wes King was a guy's name who came up today on the offensive line, transfer in from Wyoming. Rich was asked about him and what his contributions may be and what's he bring to the table.
He's a really savvy football player. Like I said, he's got a whole lot of experience, and so it was a natural for him to be at center. We got Landon at center as well. Cam Griffith, who's been in our system, can play all 3 positions. So we've you can't have too many centers. Wes is a veteran guy, so we're giving him an opportunity to play there. And it's like, Landon is a veteran guy. He's playing multiple positions up front. Coach Trickett's got a pretty good rotation of trying to find the top 10 or 11.
So Wes King hasn't been a center, but is moving over there and has really impressed folks so far through the spring and early summer here.
Yeah, transfer from Wyoming, by the way, from Appleton, Wisconsin originally. Mm-hmm. Got to put a note in there about that one. But again, reason you feel pretty good about that is the other 2 guys he mentioned. Landon Livingston started 11 games for West Virginia at center last year. Cam Griffin was the starting center for Rick Trickett at Jacksonville State last year. So you got 2 guys who've started extensively at the college level at that position. So Wes King ends up beating them out. Then you go, okay, you've moved that position ahead. You've got somebody that's even better than people who had been starters before, which is makes you feel pretty good about the entire position.
Agree. All right, Rich got into the quarterbacks. Didn't give an in-depth scouting report here, but he talked a little bit about what he's seen through from the quarterbacks so far in summer camp.
It's been okay. I think there's been times where it's uneven, with the quarterbacks holding on to the ball too long, or not seeing the field quick enough, and they're still learning to quit looking at our guys and start looking at their guys more often. But it's been a pretty solid group.
All right, there's the update on quarterbacks. Michael Hawkins, Scotty Fox primarily are your first 2 battling for that starting job. One other thing that he brought out today that I thought was interesting, we do not have this clip for you, but he was asked about returners today, Coach Hunter, and he gave a good list of about 4 different guys there that could potentially be returners, kickoff-wise and punt return-wise.
Yeah, and again, sort of led off with DJ Epps, which is what we expected out of the bunch, but the next 3 were a little bit different. Armani Weaver, a young receiver for West Virginia in there. Matt Sieg, he mentioned as well, obviously the freshman safety who West Virginia wants to get involved as well. Who am I forgetting?
Cyrus Traw.
Cyrus Traw.
Yeah,
West Virginia kid. How could I forget him? So those were the 4 he mentioned. Again, it looks like Epps probably is the leader of those, and he didn't really differentiate between kickoff and punt returners. And in recent years, West Virginia's used 1, and Preston Fox did everything. But most schools will separate those 2 because not everybody can return punts. That's a little bit of a unique skill. So we'll see if indeed it's split up between those, or if he uses all those and they use them in both positions or both specialties.
Cyrus Traw is a name we've mentioned a few times up here. He's impressing folks. He's going to play, and whether that's all the way into the rotation at receiver, which it could be, it is certainly going to be on special teams, not just as a returner. I think you're going to see him on multiple special teams. But Cyrus Traw, the former standout at Parkersburg South, has done a really good job impressing. And Rich has continued to say Matt Sieg's going to be a guy he's going to try and get him in both ways, right? It's a 2-way type of player. How many plays each side Remains to be seen how quickly he can get up to speed as a true freshman, but the fact that he's being mentioned as a returner, there's obviously an easy way to get the ball in his hands because they like his ball skills a lot.
Well, I think that's it exactly. He was so good with the ball in his hands in high school at Fort Cherry outside of Pittsburgh. Now, he's primarily a safety for you, so it's not like he's going to go over to offense full-time anytime soon. Safety is his number one position, but the easiest thing to get him involved with the ball in his hands is as a returner.
Yes.
Then you slowly work him in on some offense as well. So I could certainly see that role for him pretty quickly. Again, maybe not the first guy out there for returns, and probably the same thing with Traw. I think, you talk to the coaches about Cyrus. They love his work ethic and his toughness. And to me, that means great cover guy, good blocking on special teams. He's going to have a major role for this team on special teams, even if it's not as a primary returner. And then you mix him in on offense as well.
Yeah, he's interesting, and we always have a special eye for these West Virginia kids, and that was his hallmark in high school. Yeah. That was a tough kid in high school. If he hadn't been such a great basketball player, which he was, leading that team to a state championship game appearance, and he was a fantastic basketball player. There's a lot of people thought he could have been a first-team All-State wrestler.
Yeah,
he was that good younger as well. So he does a lot of different things athletically, and he's now grown into his body. Like you can tell he's a college football player now. So you're going to see Cyrus Traw out on the field. And we're not going to stop talking about it. I already am excited to see what Matt Sig does.
Yeah.
Like how many plays Rich, how many plays offensively is he going to get here? And you're right. They're going to ease him in. He's not going to come out of the gate here in game one and be completely ready to go. But he's going to play right from the start. Now, how many snaps that is defensively, special teams, and offense remains to be seen. And as he continues to pick it up, a guy with a high football IQ, that will continue to grow with his role. But it'll be exciting to watch him.
Oh, absolutely. I want to see him defensively first. Everybody else is going to want to see him as a slot receiver. Let me see what he does defensively, and then you work him into that. But, I mean, he's a true freshman. Again, smart kid, great IQ, but for anybody, you can overload him a little too much by throwing him out there too quickly.
Yeah, and his biggest thing is just the adjustment, as any true freshman is, but especially coming from where he's from at a smaller school, he's got a little bit more of a speed adjustment, but it's something that will come along pretty quickly, I have a feeling.
His athleticism and IQ will make him make that adjustment quicker than most, but there's still an adjustment.
Agree. All right, final break to take. When we come back, let's get into some of your texts. 304-TALK, 304 if you want to weigh in. We'll do that next on the CityNet Statewide Sports Line.
Skin cancer is the most common cancer in the United States, and melanoma is the most treatable when found early. At the WVU Cancer Institute, our experts use advanced screening, leading-edge technology, and personalized care to detect and treat skin cancer early. From routine skin checks to comprehensive cancer care and survivorship, we're here for you every step of the way. Don't wait to get checked. Call 855-WVU-CARE.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sports Line returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're back, final few minutes, sitting at Statewide Sportsline. Brent and Greg with you. Let's head over to the text line. Texter says, I agree with Coach Hunter. Cornerbacks are my biggest concern as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see a player or two listed as a safety move down to corner. We've talked about that a couple times. So far, no movement yet, still early, a lot of time before that first game. Understand that they've got a lot of guys that could probably cross over and have played some corner. So far, it sounds like the early returns, Nick Taylor, Chom's Gine getting some early reports. Gine's an interesting one. Georgia State transfer. He's a big dude,
kid
Coach
for a
Hunter.
cornerback,
yeah, listed
yeah.
6'3". That's a big guy.
200-plus pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely got all the size at corner you could want. And like I said, started some at Georgia State, but Nick Taylor is the one guy who's back from last year. Now, he played mainly safety for the Mountaineers last year. So it is sort of a different transition to him to corner, though he played corner when he was at Appalachia State. So he has some familiarity with the position. But I wouldn't be stunned if they find themselves in need. Andrew Padrell and Jeremy Latimer both have played corner in the past. So either of those are capable of making the flip, but you're starting to get a little bit late. If you feel that the need is there for somebody to get over and really help you at corner, you probably should be doing that now, because both those guys played exclusively safety in the spring and have done so, from what we understand, in fall camp as well.
Yeah, they feel pretty good about where they are now. We're entering the time here as we get later in this week. Scrimmages are going to start up, right? That's where you would expect that to get a real look now when it's good on good and you start to see a little bit of that. So that might be news coming here the next week or so as we get going. But we know that cross-training has been a thing they've talked about at every position, not just safety, corner, but all over the field. So it wouldn't be a total shock if that comes to fruition. Greg in Lake Norman checking in, asking about the 20-team football playoffs that the Power 4 conferences were supposedly meeting about today. Yeah, if you read any of that stuff today, Greg, it was really just procedural, that there wasn't any opinions given on the 20-team format.
And Rich asked the question of the media as well, that there was no new news on the 5 for 5. I think
because you got to ask hour for hour. They were out there practicing. He wasn't checking the news there. Texter sent in and said, I know you're ramping up for football, but didn't know if we had spotted the Monster Energy Big 12 Toyota yesterday at Iowa Speedway. Did you guys talk about that? Travis Jones, a big NASCAR guy. Did you talk about that?
He is, and we did not. I did see somewhere on social media a graphic of that Monster Energy drink on the Michael Jordan car, which may be more exciting than anything else.
Looks good. Kind of actually looks like the patch is going to do with the Monster logo and then the Big 12 right next to it. Black matte car, number 35 with green. Actually looks pretty good.
That'll get you some buzz.
Texter, this came in earlier and says, how about the receiver from USC? And that was Prince Strawn that we talked about earlier when we came in. I'm really fascinated to watch him.
Absolutely. I mean,
he's big.
Yeah.
He is big. Brother played in the NFL, of course, played at the University of Charleston, played at the Colts. He really looks the part. Even if he's a guy, man, what a weapon down near the goal line if you have to, right? How often do we talk about these 6'5" guys? Throw the ball up and go get it.
All you want to do is just throw.
Like for 9 years, I've been asking for somebody to throw up a lob to somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly he's got the size. But again, he's a guy now, transfer from USC, though he only was able to play one game at USC because of injury, really had the nice start to his career at Boise State.
Yes.
So had a couple of really good years there. So that's what leads you to believe, okay, he's not just a guy coming in completely raw. He's got some college experience, group of 5 level, but he's performed in the past. Now he just needs to continue to ascend.
Yeah, that's a good point. This would be a nice year for West Virginia to get some bang. We had a wonderful trip to Boise back in 1998 for the NCAA tournament. You have a chance this year with Prince Strawn and Javen Buchanan on the basketball side to get another little Boise bump. It's been a long time, Coach Hunter, since we've talked about Boise, Idaho. That could come back to fruition this year in two different sports.
Blue turf or blue court or something like that to honor them either?
I think just the fact we're mentioning it.
Did you walk on that blue field when we were out there for the basketball game?
I did.
I did too. I almost got sick.
It's weird.
It left me dizzy.
It's weird. We loved Boise, though. I had a great time there. And not just because we won and advanced on, although that helps. That helps when you do that. But weather was beautiful.
I said it before. There are very few places I can think in the world I would move. Boise would be one. I've said that since the day we left.
Well, you went all the way in.
For at least the weather was great. They were playing baseball on fields down in the valley. Drove 10 minutes up, and we were in a ski resort with snow over the roof of our car.
I don't disagree.
That was cool.
I don't disagree. All right, well, maybe it's a Boise resurgence here with Prince Strawn and Jaden Buchanan. By the way, on that, no movement or additional news on the Belo and Jaden Buchanan suits. Probably this week, Greg. I would think you would start to hear something. I think we're on the move there, where a judge will probably be assigned to that pretty soon. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Obviously, two important bits of news there. We'll continue to watch that, and we'll get into that as the week moves on. More from camp coming up tomorrow. Greg and I will be back with you at 6:06. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for all the texts. We'll do it again tomorrow. Talk to you then. See you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.